4. Okay, yeah, never mind. It says
Let's get the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I wanted to do Rangers in space. No.
All right. Hey, guys.
Good afternoon. I mean, good morning. I'm messed up my time zones. This is Buffalo. This is the 8th edition of the S.I.M. Stop Interrupting Me Western New York podcast show. I'm going to do roll call because I know I'm that good at it. I'm damn proud of it. No. I'm me. You know me. In the middle is Mike. In the
Vegas.
Vegas. Mike Vegas. Oh, yeah. Nice.
And Jimbo Slice. Jimbo Slice is coming out today.
And looking from my camera, you sort of look like Rex Ryan's lost brother. Mike.
Wow.
Brad, I think before we start, I want to give a shout out to all our local restaurants for keeping their deliveries and curbside pickups going. They're doing a great job.
I agree.
Also, shout out to our local nurses and health the local nurses and local people, health officials fighting dry disease here. So we want to give a shout out to.
And our local pharmacists who keep our scripts ready when we absolutely need them.
That's true.
Amen.
Yeah.
God bless.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. With that in mind, we are talking about the Sabres offseason today and early draft preview. We don't know when the draft's going to be held. Probably could be October. It looks like what they're saying now. And quite frankly, I'm in no rush for the draft this year. I want to drag this out as slow and painful as most Sabres fans do. Legends rise. I'm curious if anybody can show up even after this pandemic goes. But
the fans are loyal. Fans are loyal. So I wouldn't. Let's just get through the pandemic before we even talk about that issue, Fred.
Fred, are you talking about the Sabre fans showing up when we're done?
Yeah.
I tell you, I talked to 3 people this week that have been long-term season ticket holders and are not renewing. They're pissed off because the Sabres in March, before this pandemic, they raised the ticket prices.
Of course, they're going to raise the ticket prices. What do you expect?
So I'm sort of mad, Fred, because there goes my 2 games for free in the 200 level. I would bring a date to wait. I brought 2 girls to 2 different games last year. So.
But I don't blame any Sabres fans.
Yeah.
You're listening to all these player interviews, and I'm glad Eichel said he's finally fed up with losing. I'm fed up with losing. You're fed up with losing.
So am I.
We all are. But you know what, though, Fred? It's like Groundhog's Day, Jimmy. It's the same thing every year. Locker cleanup. They're all frustrated, but nothing gets done. We talked about this on the last show. The culture of the team. Nothing gets done.
I gotta say, I heard finally Rich Lyons I did not realize that even when he was on Finland, that he was not in a winning culture for that in Finland. So,
Fred, did that look like Ristolainen yesterday? My God, I thought there was another guy. He was taught. I didn't even recognize him.
Who the hell knows? Maybe I gotta.
When he dyed his hair, he looked like Dolph Lundgren in Rocky.
Oh wow! Oh my!
I didn't see it. I really didn't see it. It's amazing what time away from hockey will do to you, including.
So you were talking about the draft. Do we know who the top guy or 2 out there is?
Yeah. Oh yes, we do. We got all that for you.
See why he's the brains of the operation, Mike.
Yeah.
It's me it's usually me that comes up with swag taste here, and sometimes I don't know what I'm talking about.
I did have your Brady Mickelson versus Woods Manning, and that
was great, wasn't that, guys?
Yeah, that was awesome.
I didn't watch any of it,
but if you remember watching that, I love Barkley. Barkley was a riot, and then when Brady split his pants and made that shot, unbelievable.
Yes,
unbelievable.
I watched the part of match. Of course, then I watched 600. I mean, I thought that was some really entertaining television. Tom Brady cannot, for the first few holes, cannot find the fairway. He might find the
Yeah, but
It's like it's deflated football.
oh,
what though, guys? Fred and Jimmy, somebody made a great comment. For 8 holes, when Brady was sucking, he wasn't even talking. You know, he was really quiet. And the minute he made that shot, he never shut up.
yeah. Charles Barkley, Charles Barkley was where it's like, hey, could I play against him? He's trying to make his own charity match.
I know.
Hit out.
Does he have you? Barkley's got the worst golf swing I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, I know. It's horrible. I
But-
mean,
He always talks too much, you know how that goes.
You know what though, guys? I was talking to a friend of mine. If I had to pick a couple guys to golf with for the day, I think I'd pick Barkley and Bill Murray. You can imagine how much fun you'd have on the course with those guys.
that would be pretty entertaining.
I pick LeBron James and Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Bill Murray and Charles Barkley would probably be the most entertaining. I thought the whole match there. Yeah, actually watched most of it on replay as well. I mean, I thought it was such an entertaining the trash talk between all four that were phenomenal. I mean, it was just TV.
And I tell you, Peyton Manning's a riot. Oh my God. he's like a stand-up comedian. You know?
I know.
He forgot to do his discount double check like Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
And Phil Nixon was dropping bombs. That shot.
Oh, this is how we roll, baby. This is how we roll.
Yes, that's how we roll. All right.
So we're going to get into the first
Sabres.
topic of the day. Well, in no particular order.
That's
We're going to fully get into that 24 NHL playoff format. I got notes on that, as well as how the sort of draft process is going to work. If you want to pull that up while I'm starting. So, top 4 seeds, Eastern Conference, Western Conference, get by into the second round. Remaining 16 teams face off in the best of 5 for the first round. And then for the rest of the playoffs, it will be a best of 7. So, Mike, we'll start your reaction to that format, if and when the season resumes.
You know what, Fred? I don't think it's a bad idea. I'm going to be curious to see, who advances. I still think it's going to be. I still think Boston is going to come out of our conference. I think they're too strong. But, I don't know. Boston, Washington. Now what city have they decided? What cities they're going to use to play these games in?
It would be one from the West and one from the East. It's not totally finalized yet, or they're close.
Now, Fred, another thing too. Are they going to be able to get these guys back here from Europe? Because there was some talk some of these guys out of Europe.
Yeah, that's what they're working on. I know there was a lot. Pugo's are suing, or having a lawsuit, or having some type of thing against I forget what the president or the White House or the government or whatever the case may be for this. I haven't heard anything from other teams about a suit, but it's like, to me, my perception is, or what I thought was perception. I can understand that, but I felt like it was a money grab. I could be wrong about that. It's probably not, but like perception with the way things have gone, to me, it sounds like a money grab. But
yeah, money's gonna talk. Money's gonna talk.
So, Jimmy, what's your reaction to the proposed playoff format that's been talked about?
I think, what's actually good to see is, obviously the time frame when it's going to happen. Obviously, they're looking into at least July, August to get end around August or September. Obviously, with the pandemic still going on, that's you got the travel concerns with the players from Europe come over. I mean, it's kind of I'll say this. Whatever way you just splice it, it wasn't going to be totally the perfect system. We all know that, but the NHL did the best they could with the situation. And I think they did a really good job with it. For now, as far as Boston, Toronto would be the top 2. The East, the West. I'm the Golden Knights would. They're again. I haven't really studied any matchups yet, so I'm sure we'll get that to another time. But I think the NHL's done the best they can with the situation here. Is it perfect? No, but I think given the circumstances, they did a fair job.
It's hard too, guys, to predict. Like they've been off since the middle of March. And with no fans and on neutral sites, anybody could win it.
Yeah.
You don't know what guys have been in shape, what guys aren't in shape. Chemistry. I don't know.
That really factor. You're right. That really going to factor in. I think the guys that have a bye are going to. It's going to be interesting to see here because the guys that do have a bye, they're going to have a longer wait period before they get any time on the ice there. And then I think the teams that are in the first round are going to have somewhat of an advantage because they'll be in better game shape. So, I mean, you look at this format. You're right. Anybody can win here. Carolina could, New York, Carolina, New York, Edmonton on the west, or Vancouver. I mean, you could have.
I think it's just like Fred did. He just flipped a coin. Anybody could win it.
No, I say the coin.
Flip a coin. That's all I gotta say. Flip a coin. Who do you want? Vegas,
I think we're better off talking about the Sabres, guys.
I agree. I agree.
To quickly expound on the draft lottery, how that's going to work. By the way, you're like, are
you watching the after press conference? Or are you?
Oh no, I'm reading on the process this year. Oh, they did announce too that the some teams that are playoffs can trade with each other.
You know what? I would trade our pick. We got to do something.
Interesting. You brought that up as far as trading pick. We still don't know where that pick's going to fall. The most likely scenario might be 8.
Isn't it crazy what the scenario is? 1 through the guys 7 teams out of the playoffs, and then you have one of the teams from
another 7 or 8. I think, however they get eliminated out of the playoff format, and then that's how the rest of the order will determine. And then they'll do a draft lottery, one type of lottery thing, and if they need to, they'll do another part of redrawing it. That's interesting. I think it's fair.
I'd like to see Fred or Jimmy. Have you seen a list of possible free agents out there? Maybe who the Sabres could target?
I can pull that right now.
Yeah, but I think the biggest I know there was some discussion about Braden Point from Tampa Bay, or did Braden Point get signed, if I remember correctly? Or I don't know. Braden Point from Tampa Bay.
I'm not sure. That's an RFA. That's not a UFA.
Oh, not a UFA. Okay.
Yeah, because Reinhardt for us is a restricted free agent too.
There's a lot of.
Okay, let's debate about Reinhardt. So obviously he's a UFA this offseason. How long ever this offseason is going to be here?
Reinhardt's going to get a good deal. You watch from the Sabres. I think he's part of the future.
That's a trick one. I voted part of the future, but what this team needs, is offense. I was listening to the answers this morning. The Sabres are 21st in offensive scoring and
21st offensive scoring. What was the others?
I think 20th in goals against. Goals for. I have to. Let me look up that. Let me look up that statistic here as well. Here.
Yeah, Mike's like, seriously, you can't do your
no. I'm curious because I tell you right now, they got to do something. They're boring on offense.
I agree. I mean, and obviously, that's the biggest thing here is, there needs to be a whole bunch of roster turnover
You know what?
I mean-
Maybe a guy like Reinhardt gets dealt. I mean, Ristolainen, they've been mentioning him for 2 years in trades, but we don't do anything. You know?
Yeah, Ristolainen made some history contest during his postseason presser on.
Yeah, he did last year too. I think he's gone. They got to do something with him. You know?
Well, that's
He needs to change the scenery. I will say that. If I'm you like his physicality, you like his power play thing, but I mean, you don't like the plays that he doesn't make or lack of awareness that he can be lack of focus at times.
You know, is it a case too where, but has he tried to trade him and the right deal's not there? You know, I guess
timing. I would say timing. Or the price was too high for a lot of these teams. For what was rumored to what Ottawa was looking for as far as the factor to return. There's a multitude of factors. We could say certain things that they should have done more for like Scandella. They could have, from what we did with St. Louis, and then what? Montreal got, I think, a few more things in return for Scandella. I know I'm going off track a little bit with that.
That's fine. I think though. I just think that we got to keep some guys, and sometimes you got to let guys go. I mean, I'm tired every year of them re-signing Stegmas Gergensen or whatever. I can't stand that guy. You know,
it's funny.
He's like a bad. He's like a bad. Fred, he's like a bad penny. He keeps coming back. You know. Well, what do you do with Jimmy Vesey? What do you do with Wayne Simmons? You know. What do you do with Larson?
Well, these are the offseason.
These are all the questions we're going to debate about.
No,
right now.
All right, let's debate right now.
Let's do it right now.
Let's debate. So, I got a couple questions for you. Since you were on that subject, you let me right into what I was going to talk about. Thanks, Mike. Mr. Las Vegas.
That's why they call me Mr. Vegas.
Of the UFAs, RFAs currently on the Sabres, who would you retain and who would you walk away? If you need to bring up the list of UFAs and RFAs, I would do that while you were speaking.
Well, my first two, obviously, would be for Leak, and the first two that I'm not resigning for Leak and are for Leak, and my name's skip me. Oh, damn it!
Are you losing your mind, Jimbo?
I'm trying to use my mind here.
Jim, who are you? Is it a defenseman you're looking at or an offensive guy?
No, players I'm getting rid of. For Saboka. I'm sorry. The first two
Vladimir Saboka. He's on my list too.
It's a given.
Early trade obviously backfired. I mean, you didn't provide much of it. Scratched half the time. I mean, yeah. It's time. I understand trying to revive him, but what really value we're going to get out of him? You know, I thought that Cahoon show was much better than the Furley trick was. The Furley deal I didn't totally quite understand, but it was a bad deal.
I think if you're looking at it for a side thing, it's like for veteran who have cup, won cups.
Yeah, but he couldn't produce.
No, I realize that. I'll get to that in one moment. I was letting you talk. I want to hear what Mike has to say on a few things. But if you have any other players you want to get rid of, you haul FedEx them to somewhere else.
Well, this is where it gets interesting. Because obviously we already got rid of Sherry and I'm Rodriguez, and that name's. I'm really just having a rough day so far. I need a cup of coffee.
All right, we'll get some coffee, Jimmy.
We'll give you a break, Mike. We'll go with you.
Yeah, I'd like to see them keep Jimmy Vesey. I still think the guy can play. Johan Larson is a guy I'd bring back. He's tough, gritty, and he scored some good goals for the Sabres. Wayne Simmons, I'm up in the air about. I thought he'd be another like Mike Greer, but I didn't see that. You know, Frolik I'd let go. Sabotka I'd let go. And Gergenis, or whatever, how you say it, Zegmas, let him go. I'd also look at the goaltending, too. Carter Hutton, I'd say goodbye to. I think he stinks, you know.
You got 1 year left on his deal.
Yeah, I don't know, but I don't think he's the guy. They got to get a franchise goalie here, and I think they got the guys in the minor. The guy coming off the injury might be the guy with Hallmark, you know. But I want to see Bottarelli do something. You know, I just think we got to make it, even if it involves a guy like Reinhardt in a trade or somebody. But you remember when they traded Pierre Turgeon for Pat LaFontaine? Sometimes you got to do something like that, you know. And I don't think Jason. I think he's timid on making a deal. You know, he's not like Bean. When Bean wants somebody or wants to get rid of somebody, he does it. You know.
Now, you make an interesting point as far as that. I'm going to make an argument that the NHL is not like the NFL and Sarek and how they do their RFA, UFA things. Yeah, I made some mute shit. So, I mean, that's a whole other conversation we could get into as far as that's concerned. I gotta mute someone over here for 5 seconds. I gotta move Jimbo.
Maybe Jim's on the phone with Jason.
yeah, maybe. So I pulled up the RFAs.
Well, yeah, who would be somebody, Fred, that they could go after? Their type of guy.
I mean, we'll get to that in a moment, but I'm gonna start off with Wayne Simmons. Now, it was only a small sample size for since the post trade deadline with this pandemic going on. So obviously you're not going to bring him back at $5 million. Unfortunately, he doesn't have his years of physical play and the way he played the game. He's not going to be the most speediest person, and I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for people that still have grit, not afraid to speak up in the locker room, a different voice, and still have some potential. I would say $1.5 to $2 million for Wayne Simmons. Maybe on a 1 to 2 year deal, go by year. I wouldn't want to do too much of a long-term multi-year deal, because for his type of game, everything, you at this stage of his career, I don't think it's worth paying $4 or $5 million for him. Bottom line, I don't have no problem keeping him. Unlike a lot of fans that say they should, that it was a bad idea. No, it's not. You have a lot of the same players on your team in a sense, certain players. I think Wayne it's going to help that locker room. He's going to push these teammates even further than what I think like a Connor Sherry would, or a Jake McCabe would. Now, for a league, I don't think it worked out for him here. I would move on from him definitely. I'm fine with Cahoon. I like this play. Once we picked him up, he really impressed me. He's still young. Oh, actually, he's 25. He can play wing and center. I think he'd be good for our bottom six, top six, however you want to look at it. It's interesting we talk about Sabotka because the first 2 years, first couple of years while he was playing at Housley, he was an absolute crapshoot. And no offense to the person, but he was absolute crapshoot. Ironically enough, this year before he got injured, while he was playing with Skinner and Johansson, they were actually 3rd producing this year. In a small sample size of, like I say, what, in the first 15, 20 games, maybe a little bit less than that. They were that was a line that was actually creating offense and producing. And under Carl Kruger, he actually was doing pretty good. The only thing of it is that I still wouldn't bring him back.
I agree.
He's 33 years old. Not that means anything. I mean, Simmons is 32 and everything, but I just don't think he'd be a fit going forward. Matt Helmwick had a neck injury. He's 35. I mean, I actually liked his play when he did play. Even though he's up there in age, he actually I don't think he had any issues playing the defensive zone. If you want to keep him on a 1-year deal, at maybe a league minimum, maybe if you wanted to keep him around, most likely he'd probably be moved on. VC's an interesting UFA. You've seen flashes of offense, but he wasn't consistent.
Fred, last year, remember he had a long streak where he didn't score, and then within a week to 10 days, the guy was hotter than a pistol.
Yeah, you can argue that. I mean, it sounds like a less productive version of Thomas Vanek, if you ask me. But
yeah.
So I mean,
I would rather walk away from Jimmy Vesey. I'd rather walk away from Jimmy Vesey.
I think too, you got to make room for some of these young kids coming up, like Thompson, Middlestat, and Cousins too.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Keep getting into that. I'm gonna.
And I do give the Sabres credit with Tage Thompson and Middlestat, because I think both guys needed to play down in Rochester.
Yeah, well, should have been,
and get confidence.
Well, Middlestat should have been brought down earlier.
I know. And I've always liked Tage Thompson, but I think they rushed him from St. Louis up here for the first year or two. I've always liked him. He's got good size. He's got Dave Anderchuk type size, but he's a better skater and a better shooter, than Anderchuk for his size. Anderchuk good around the net.
Unfortunately, we did not get to see much of his improvement. They've been working on in Rochester because the game they called him up, he injured his shoulder. I think forecheck by was it a Philly game or what game was that?
That was a Detroit game.
Detroit. And that was so unfortunate because
I'm excited to see Dylan Cousins. I've heard all good things about Cousins.
Yeah, I
am too. I'm going to continue with the UFAs. Larson, I think we can keep maybe 1.75 to 2. Honestly, I am not bringing back. I wouldn't bring back Scott Wilson. I am not bringing back anybody that.
Okay, so
caused us pain. Now I haven't got to the UFAs. Who
are so to clarify, since I'm back here, who do you guys have besides Furlik and Saboka? Who do you guys have as not on the team for next year? I'll start with Mike.
Who we wouldn't bring back?
Yes.
I think Frolik, Saboka.
You had Furlik, yeah.
Yeah. Gergensen, I wouldn't bring back. I don't think I'd bring back Carter Hutton. I think I'd try to do something with him, either buy him out or, maybe make him in a trade.
You want my opinion on that? I agree with you on Gergensen's. If you can get a pick for Hutton, I would not bring back Montour as a UFA.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Montour could be trade bait. Montour could be trade bait.
Montour can definitely be trade bait. If you qualify him as an RFA and then you trade him for an asset, whether it be a pick or some other player, he's not going to catch you a first round like he did, or what we gave up for him. And he's not an offensive defenseman like I thought he was going to be. and they might be playing him a bit wrong. And they probably play him a bit wrong in Anaheim too. He's more of a defensive type player that can join the rush. But I'm done. Like if whatever money he's gonna command, I would just let him walk, or try to qualify RFA and then try to trade him. That's how I feel on that. Florence Island. I think reports that he might be going to KHL, but Jeremy White's super secret saver source says this is a leveraging tactic, and they promised him to be in the top 4. So somebody might be moving.
Wait a minute. Jeremy White is always it's funny. It's super secret saver source.
Yeah,
Wait a minute, you keep hearing. That's so. This is his favorite secret source. I want to know who the source is.
That's secret saver source. Anyway, if I would hope Pilot stays. I like, if you can get more consistent this game, and keep it on top 4. He's a very good skating defenseman that can create offense. Join the rush. I would hope that they could still keep him. I would not give up on him. I would be keeping Tate Thompson. He's still young. Ogilvy, I read in the Athletic that the Sabres assistant GM or associate GM that takes care compares Ogilvy to like a Brian Rust type player that has that potential. Obviously, I'm re-signing Olsen. He was a draft pick out of the Tim Murray area, 2014 7th round pick. His brother's going to be signed a 1-year AHL deal with Rochester. He's 20. Jesper is 28. And among that, I agree with you on the Hutton thing. I would keep Cahoon on a reasonable deal. Reinhardt's the interesting one for me. You could have signed him to a longer term deal at a reasonable hit maybe a couple of years ago. If anyone wants to debate that, I would oblige. I would agree. I would concur. However, now is now, and quite frankly, if you look at him being with Eichel, those two are a tandem. They create offense with each other. When Eichel was away, there are times where he sort of produced. There's times where he produced on his own, scoring goals. There are times where he just didn't produce when we need him to. As controversial as that may sound, I feel like he really needed to step up in certain situations when Eichel was not on the ice. And maybe, obviously, Johansson at center mid was he's more suited on the winner. I had no problem with Johansson. One more year at $4.5 million. Until we find someone else, that's I have no problem with him being here. He has one more year left on this, as we speak, starting, and it might be extended a little bit with the situation, but I'm fine with that. So I've gone over who I think. I think we all gone over who we think, and
I haven't finished my list here, Fred, because the two names with Smoke for a league. Those are my first two. Dominic, Wayne Simmons is that physical. Is that better presence? I think Jack was talking about toughness. Well, he brings that toughness and that grit, that old school mentality so the guy keep Coon definitely. He really impressed me last season, especially on that Johansson line hit. Jimmy Vesey, obviously, as you said, has shown flashes, but very kind of a streaky. I don't need streaky scores. I need consistent bottom line production, so I wouldn't keep him. Obviously, Gergenson's
nice knowing you.
Gergenson's I think would benefit for a change of scenery. I think he'd be better. He's shown slips on the fourth line. That when him, Larson, and Oposo also were one of the best lines. They weren't even a fourth line that become, but I think a fresh change of scenery for him. Larson, I would definitely Larson would be one. I'm kind of on the fence on, to be honest with you. On the fence on that one. There, on the fence, definitely Scott Wilson. I wouldn't bring back. He's more of an AHL player here. Curtis.
I forgot about him. Yeah.
I like Lazar. I like Curtis Lazar.
I think he's turned his game around, and really, I think you can replace him.
I would definitely see him as a fourth line player. I would.
He's got a lot of energy. Lazar plays with a lot of energy.
Yeah, he definitely does play a lot of energy.
He can probably put you a couple goals in that too.
Now
he's got talent. I mean, he's got talent. He wasn't that bad in Ottawa. He
was a former first-round pick, by the way. And he's worked to reshape his game from being that considered one of the top picks in whatever year draft he was. I think early 2010s or was it Reinhardt's draft that he was?
Yeah.
If I remember correctly.
2014, yeah.
Just so you guys know, I got about 5 minutes and then I'm going to run out of power. So, you guys can continue.
On your
laptop?
No, he's on his phone.
Oh, he is on his phone.
Yeah. I got till about noon.
All right. So we'll make. All right. So
we're going to do, we might as well jump to this quick. If you were traded for a second line center, which player from a team X or so would you acquire? If you were looking to trade for a second line center.
Well, I wasn't it. Who was picked? They was talked about right before all this was going on. Sam Bennett from Calgary's out there. They say he might need a change of scenery. And wasn't he picked right after Reinhardt?
Yes. I do remember that. Yeah.
I don't think it's a second line center though. I hate to say.
I don't know. Yeah. Well, who are you guys looking at for a second line center to get?
Dylan Strome of Chicago. He'll be the RFA off of Chicago. We dealt with Chicago in past. I forgot about Yoki Hara. It's a steal. I'm not sure if it steals up, but I was impressed with Yoki Hara for most of the season. Right.
Bless me.
Bless you.
But Dylan Strome. If you're looking at like Tomas Hertl of San Jose, if you're looking for,
I would love Tomas Hertl. He's scored some more clutch goals. To go back to the Vegas series. a couple of years ago. I mean, when he came down from that 3-1 deficit there and not eventually went overtime. I mean, Tomas Hertl, someone he's got that speed. Need you guys to we will. That was a Tomas Hertl.
If you're looking, I mean, really, you're looking at a situation is that you got to find the right player for a UFA. If you're looking at or RFA to bridge that gap, there's not many this year. To bridge the gap, if you ask me,
I think we're in a tough situation.
We've been in a tough situation for the past
Plus, I've
9
also
years.
heard reports that Buffalo right now is not high on people's list to come to.
What else is new? You know what? They always say that it hasn't mattered since the GM. I'm not worried about. I mean, the players do love it here, and I think they like the career thing. But I gotta say though, for me, it's in today's age. It's not about the free agency. We've learned too much in the past that signing these big free agents doesn't lead you always to the Stanley Cup. the big names, and then you're see Opolso, even though he's been productive, unfortunately, with concussion things, and injuries and all that stuff. You, set aside $6 million. He's played pretty well this past year, all things considering. But like that, and hopefully Jessica can rebound and prove that he's worth at least $9 million this next coming year. But if he doesn't, that's going to be the biggest problem. Another problem that it's like that you're dealing with for the next X amount of years. So I'm not looking too much at the free agent market as far as
I think the free agent market will probably used to cut. I think the trade stuff is going to.
The
trade route.
Yeah,
and if you're going to use free agents, you're not going to sign the top names. You're going to find some different guys for depth. I would say that actually are going to fit and play, including goalie. Including goalie, I would look there.
But I think the younger players. I think it's we need these younger players to come up and really take a hold of the foot because Mike Harrington made a great point on the press conference with Jason Botterill. When is it going to be time for the talk about the future? What's that future is going to turn into now? I think this is the most critical offseason, and seriously, this could really set either.
We've been saying that for 9 years, though.
Yeah, I know, but I know, but this has to be the year where this has to be the year where they turn this up because Botterill knows his job is on the line, even though this is his last chance to really make a stamp on it.
And just quickly, sorry to interrupt you. As far as Botterill staying GM, I think he's on borrowed time. Even though
I think the pandemic saved him this year.
I don't think the pandemic saved him. I think
guys, I've got to leave here. I'm on a couple. I got to charge this phone up. So,
all right. Thank you, Mike, for your time today.
All right, guys. See you again. Okay, see you.
All right. So, I know I'm jumping ahead to the list. We've been kind of bouncing around. I think he's on borrowed time. I'm not going to go off my stance and say Botterill shouldn't be fired. He should have been fired. He should have been fired for the mess he's kind of created in the past years for this team to not succeed as well. It is up to him. We don't have to go over it. I'm covering my enough and keep safe.
No, I totally agree. There's been this is and like you said, and like you said, he's been on a hot seat, and of course now he's even more of a hot seat because of more of a hot seat here to try to right the ship. This is the team that's been stuck in mediocrity the last 9 years. 31st, 20, 30, 31st, 20. I don't know what more motivation you need to get this franchise turned around here. I've been one that's been given the benefit of doubt. And, if they don't do it in the offseason, if they have a bad start to the next season, whenever the next season is going to start, I just can't see him lasting much longer. And to your point, the public comments, they support him. But internally, I have to think that, he's on borrowed time here because, this is coming in his fourth year. And, fourth year, not one season, this season, not one season he's made the playoffs. And, you could follow Tim Murray, you could follow Darcy here as well.
You can follow all of it. You can follow all of it. We've talked about it over and over again. It's nothing new, Jimbo.
Oh, I know.
The fact of the matter is that, Jason Botterill was supposed to be this cap guru, and under this Pittsburgh tree, and being under Jim Rutherford and everything. Do I think he's made all bad moves? No. Do I think that he's made great moves? He's made some good moves. Not great. You gotta remember back when we traded Ryan O'Reilly, how the Patrick Berglund situation, how that turned out. I don't think that was
kind of a
odd situation. Otto didn't play him for when you're talking about Case Milstead and some of these other things.
Right. Well, yeah.
And I remember Botterill last year giving these players wanting these players to challenge themselves and what's one thing you can improve on. And I'll throw the players too at this. They're not from blame. They know. They know it. We've been saying that for years. It's not all the GM either. But GM has a lot to do with how this.
You have to have better players around. That's the biggest issue. There's been opportunities.
No kidding, Jimbo. We've been saying that for the past 5 years since I was drafted, and Botterill never filled the O'Reilly position, basically, and we've been suffering. What else do I need to say more? It's been a clusterfuck, basically. We've gone through this. I don't know what more can I say or anyone else can say that hasn't already been said. And I don't blame the fans' frustration. I know people who have said that they going back to Otto that they know it's not going to proper the same decision. Well, duh, it's not a popular decision. It's not a popular decision.
Sorry about that. It was tax Skype.
You just look at it and it's just like, I mean, anything that could go wrong has gone wrong for this team. If you want to look at that, they're between injuries, people, deciding that they didn't want to play anymore, to mismanagement, to players not getting the job done, to everything. So, I mean, to not being in a winning culture for how many years and still learning how to win after all this time. I mean, it's maddening. It's frustrating. It's absolutely incredible that we are in this position since we traded Ryan Miller, Steve Vanek, Roy. Oh no, we didn't trade Roy. I mean, we gave up the whole power to draft year Michael in 2015, and it's just been absolutely abysmal.
Which kind of gets me to the Jack quote during his locker cleanout. Talk about the fed up with the franchise losing.
Of course,
this is his quote.
Of course,
this is part of his quote. I don't have the full quote in front. Actually, let me get the full quote in front of me here too. This is listen, end quote. Listen, I'm fed up with losing. I'm fed up and frustrated. Actually, it's not. It's definitely not an easy pill to swallow right now. It's been a tough couple of months. It's been a tough 5 years where things have gone. Now, where's the? I don't. So that was part of his quote. I'm trying to look for the full.
Of course, he's fed up with losing.
He should be. I mean,
after 5 freaking years of drafting him, you mean to tell me you couldn't get this team to be at least competitive? At least some sort of playoff force?
I mean, of course he's fed up and frustrated. We're all fed up and frustrated. We're fed up with this team that's giving us a crap product every year with some of these same players. We're fed up that management doesn't know what the hell they're doing. We're fed up with I guess, season ticket prices. We're fed up with owners that seemingly potentially don't care. I don't know. We're fed up with jerseys being misspelled. We're fed up with Monroe. We were fed up with Murray. We were fed up with Regier. We're fed up with the whole damn team. We see what's going on with the Bells, and what the hell? 10 long years. 10 long years. I mean, we're all fed up with it. The whole city of Buffalo's fed up with it. The entire Western New York is fed up with it. Hell, Donald Trump's fed up with it. I don't know about Donald Trump, but as far as I'm concerned, but golly, if we can't figure out one thing right about this team, I don't know what we can figure out. I swear to God, I feel your pain on Twitter. I see it. But guys, wake up on Twitter. Use common sense. Look at what's happening. I mean, you can blame Fagulas for all I care about. If we had issues before the Fagulas, before he bought the team. As far as creating that winning culture between Darcy Regier, Ron Rolston, Ted Nolan. I mean, I love the guy, but it didn't work back then, 10 years ago. Lenny Rumpf, Mikhail Grigorenko. We forget. We traded away Brady McNabb. We traded away Noel Armenia that could be on this team right now. We traded away second round picks that could have been on this team right now for the Hudson Fashion deal with Brady McNabb. We traded away Mark Pitzik. Could have been on this team right now. Maybe not as a top-tier defenseman, but he sure as hell could be a lot better than some of the defensemen we've had in the past 5-6 years. Remember Orlando? We signed the Arrow deal, you know. Unfortunately, Cody Austin never had the potential to help issues. Do I have to go on and on and on of missteps?
Well, no, I think
player development for young players between giving away the players that we can have on this team right now to a whole hell of a lot of things. It's not just Jason Botterill's fault, by the way. He's caused some of this, but you know damn well, and I know damn well, that this has been 9 years of absolute shit. Period. I've said it before. I'll say it again. It's been a cluster shit, a cluster F, a cluster bogus, mismatch, turntable, pile of bad stew, something, whatever you want to call it. It's
okay.
just
Here's the full quote from Jack Eichel. Listen, I'm fed up right now losing. I'm fed up and I'm frustrated. It's definitely not easy. It's been a tough couple months, tough 5 years. Where I'm a competitor. I want to win every time I go on the ice. I want to win this Cup every time I start a season. I've already started preparing for next season now. I'm already back on the ice. Already training. Already trying to better myself. Starting next season, whenever that is. I'd be lying to say that I've been lying to say if I'm not getting frustrated with the way things are going. I think we took a step this year. It's been a pleasure working with Ralph, and he does so much for our group every day. There are tough times, and he does an amazing job bringing us back near and our focus and getting back to where to be mentally. There's been a few times I've spoken to him. Quarantine, it's been good, but yeah, I'm definitely not at the greatest place where last little bit went, and it definitely wore on me. So
Of course, it's going to wear on you.
That comment alone brings a lot of weight. Is a significant amount of weight. It's putting pressure on the organization. Say, hey, help me. I need help. I can't just do this on my own here.
I think he's been saying that for the past 5 years. Let's be honest. I know it's not just him. I know probably Reinhardt privately.
But if this doesn't wake up the organization,
you're trying to help him with Brian Gianta, Josh Georges, veteran leaders. You try to bring Kai for. I mean, I don't. Some of these people may have been veterans, but some of them may have been prior. I don't say all of them, but I mean, I swear to God, I shouldn't say swear. I shouldn't swear, but quite frankly, whatever help they've been bringing in has not done enough to turn this culture around. Yeah,
and that's what I said. I totally agree there.
Seriously,
but that's why. That's
if you were making $10 million and you're one of the best players on your team, and you've been improving every year since you've gone in the NHL, offensively, defensively, giving your all. I know. Yeah, okay. It's one thing to work on a gym and try to get be hardworking, but it's another thing to prove it on the ice, and that's what some of these players have not done to do all that. I mean,
and then
you need to say more.
And then you bring you're so fired up. I can't.
I say in a couple of years, if this case does, quick tradition of Jack Eichel being traded and leaving is probably going to come true, and that's the last thing I want to see as a fan. And there's some, there's going to be Eichel haters. That you all have. Even in the city of Buffalo, there's Eichel haters that don't think he does anything. He's a whiner, blah, blah, blah. He's a bad influence on the locker room. I mean, Jack Eichel's goddamn not the problem either, because we've seen it before, even before Eichel was born, that this team has sucked. Even with Evander team, even with O'Reilly, even with Jay McGinn, even with plethora of players that we've brought into this organization. We still suck. Go cry to your mother about that.
Okay, I collect my thoughts here, but yeah, that's why I say this offseason is so critical here. This is
There's trying to be the offseason. I'm tired of being.
I agree. I mean, this is
supposed to be the year. It's supposed to do something. Do it. Come on. Do it.
Well, to your point here, this there needs to be turnover. There needs to be.
We didn't say that for freaking 5 years. Plus,
I know, Fred.
I know it. Do it.
But the point of it is that Eichel's comments should not be taken for naught. I mean, this shit's management. If you don't make some moves in this offseason,
somebody needs to get a firework up in the rear to light him up into the sky and do something about it. Is that what's going to take? What is it going to take? More money? More dinero? What's it going to take? A whole fan base coming to the KeyBank Arena when this is all over, and not being in an arena or standing outside and protesting? What's it going to take? The 72nd Air Force? What is it going to take, guys? What is it going to take? A U-Haul truck, a FedEx truck, and a 747? The whole country of the United States of America?
I don't know what to. I don't know what to tell you. No, but that's the bit. But I don't know. I don't know what's going to take. But again, this is why they need to bring in new players. They need to bring in fresh players. They
got to bring certain players. Yes, not every single has to be new. They got. We already addressed this for the
got to bring people up from
The
Rochester.
roster needs to be we've been saying the roster, but now more than ever, this roster has to be gutted. I mean, we can't have the same.
I mean, it's got to be gutted by Drano and Pepto Bismol. That's how it's got to be gutted. We already know that. So the key thing of it is here, Jimbo, is who are we bringing up from Rochester? Are we going to bring up Rasmus Asplund? I don't know.
And that's another thing. The depth.
Who do we have in the AHL that really, maybe Morgan, but as far as defense side, but who do we have? Who do we have in our pipeline that's going to step up and make the jump at this point?
And that's
not many. Not many.
And that's where I think and again, I agree with you. That's where we need to also address forward depth down in Rochester. I mean, we need to get more development down. Talk about the future. Well,
and I could be wrong about it. I mean, I could be wrong, but you're telling me that like Jakob Bryson's going to jump in next year? Matej Pekar? I mean, I would hope so.
It doesn't seem like it seems like a lost cause.
This seems like a 5-year rebuild, like they talked about, than a 3-year turnaround. I mean, this ain't a lost cause, Jimbo. I'm just pointing this out. I mean,
I know, but
if you want to bring up a couple players other than what I mentioned, go ahead. I have it on my top.
And that's where I think that's what I'm saying. It's like Jason cannot stand silent here, because I'll tell you what, if they don't change this roster over, and if they start the season off poorly, you know how much pressure.
No, I know what pressure.
You know how much more pressure is going to be at the fire bottle.
Oh, you have no idea, Jimbo. You do, but you have no idea what this. You think the fan base is going to be rough now? Wait until next season. I can already sense it now. I can already tell, even after what's going to happen down. I bet you there's going to be no fans in the stands cheering them on, because they're done. If any fan shows up, other than like Toronto Maple Leafs fans, I don't see that I win the Toronto.
So you're predicting boycott or something?
I would rather see right now. I might want to see Toronto Maple Leafs all Toronto Maple Leafs fans in the building one night, and let the Sabres know how bad they messed up.
Oh my goodness!
I don't care if it's Pittsburgh fans. I don't care if it's Montreal fans. I don't care if it's the whole fandom of.
So what you're suggesting is boycotting? Is that what you're
close to it as you possibly can for how many games, as long as it takes?
Well, I wouldn't go that. Really I wouldn't go that far. I would.
If you really don't like what's going on, do what Boston fans did before their 2011 Stanley Cup championship.
Man, no,
don't do.
The point of it is that they can't do nothing and expect the same results. They cannot stand. Whatever they got to do, they got to do. I mean, you have this cap space. You need to.
Do you really have the cap space technically?
I don't know. Well, again, obviously with the pandemic, that's going to change too. But they got to do something. I mean, I think they got to make some shakeup here. If they don't, then he should be fired. I mean, play it simple. You cannot have. This is mediocrity. This has been mediocre. When are we going to get past mediocrity here? I mean,
till the cows come.
All right, we got a little off track with that rant there.
Oh, no, we were on board.
You were just cooking with gas there. I mean, you were just.
No, I'm just getting started, Jimbo.
Oh man, I don't know what. What are topics we had on the podcast?
We're gonna get into the draft predictions. This is early. We don't know in the first round. So the first question on that is, what do you think the Sabres will end up drafting in round one? I did like 1 through 7, 1 through 8. Do you think they'll draft A? Could they end up drafting number 1 overall? Who knows? Let's see.
I think. Well,
It'll be shocking to see.
If they see again, a lot depends on how this draft lottery plays out.
Of course,
That's again.
Excluding the draft lottery, if the draft lottery happened and all things considered, take a guess of where the Sabres are going to potentially pick between 1 through 8.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say they're gonna stay at 8. I mean, I'd be ecstatic if they win the draft and get Lafreniere. That would be, that could, if they get number 1 and get Lafreniere, man, that'd be a jolt for the fan.
That would be a dynamic changer, no doubt. I think you can say that the same about Holt and Raymond probably. If you're looking at wingers, maybe not as elite as Lafreniere generational for this year's class, but that would be remarkable. On the low end of things, yes, 8th would be probably most likely.
But if they're any,
hold on, before you interrupt me, this is the show that says stop interrupting me. Best case scenario or the most over the top scenario is number 1, but realistically, if you're looking, I would say 4th or 5th. If things were to fall, wouldn't mind seeing them 4th or 5th in the draft.
I'm gonna say they
trade down and get more picks or acquire that.
I'm gonna have to say they got to make a trade. I mean, this is if obviously if they get like one of those top 3 picks, then but if they're like 8th, 9th, my days trade the pick because you need forwards.
I think anything after 8, we don't totally know much about. So, anything after
that's what I'm saying. You need forward depth, and I think
you need a second line center. If you don't feel like you're going to get that out of this draft class, then you use that first round pick to get your second line center.
Exactly. And so that's why I'm saying, the most like, sir, if I would trade the pick. I mean,
to me, it's not a most likely scenario at this point because
you got to swing for the fences. You got to swing for the fences, Fred.
Swing for the fences, Jimbo. But until we know the actual thing where the Sabres are drafting, if you're anywhere outside the top 8, then yeah, absolutely, trade for a second line center. If you're in the top 8, maybe top.
Well, even if you're 8,
hold on, let me finish the point. If you're in the top 5 to 6, then you're keeping the pick. And if you want to trade Milstad or Ristolainen or Milstad right now for to trade for another defenseman or trade for a second line center, then I can see that. But you're looking at, we do not know where we're picking.
We don't even know when the season is going to start, obviously. So that's another,
it doesn't matter. The key thing is how you're going to go about this year's offseason draft. It's right now. You're going to go through and you're going to have the extra time as one of the 7 teams that are out of the depths. You're going to have some extra time to hopefully do the right thing and do your due diligence. Because if you don't do it right now, this is like a blessing in disguise for these 7 teams. If you mess this up, then you have no business being a general manager in the NHL, bar none. I would say if you're obviously taking Lafreniere if you're number 1. If you're in the 3 to 6 range, if you want to draft a center, you can draft a center in Byfield or Rossi or Perfetti. If you're looking for winners, then I would go with Raymond, Holt, or Stutzel. Because I think you need along with the center, you're still going to need winners to produce. You can never have enough winners to score goals in this league, especially when Jeff Skinner has a bad year. That's how I look at it. You can solidify that top 6, and then you can fill your roster with some players down from Rochester, bring them back up, and then fill out your bottom 6 with veteran, another veteran or two, re-sign Simmons, and maybe one other UFA, for a reasonable camera, maybe veteran playoff experience, or some type of grit sandpaper.
Well, yeah, that's the other thing too. It's got to be. It can't be the same type of player. It's got to be.
I know it can't be said. I'm just saying you have to go. You have to go with that. You have to at least do, like, I know you say you gotta do something. You really gotta do something. You gotta bring out your pitchforks and your torches. Not like that, but this is going to be this is going to be the most critical offseason for this team, more so than ever. If you don't get this right, then you're going to be end up during Michael Reinhardt, possibly Darlene, and starting over.
Which is the last thing we want.
It would be the last thing you want.
But it has to come down to it. Then you have no choice because
you don't have any choice because you screwed up for the past 10 years. And then last five, especially with Michael, and Reinhardt and Darlene to a certain extent, certain things you screwed up. There's certain things, key things that you screwed up as an organization that
should have been taken care of.
Yeah, should have been taken care of by this current GM. That has.
Oh, okay. Here's something on 5 teams, not Super 16, top 5 teams not to win a Stanley Cup. The Lightning, 2018-2019, the Lightning is number 1. The Canucks, 2010-2011 Canucks were number 2. 09-010 Capitals. 06-07 Sabres is number 4, and the 96-97 Red Wings, according to Kevin.
I'm surprised they didn't put the 99 team for the Sabres ahead of all of that. But we sort of touched on the Brady match. We sort of talked about Federal St. I as GM, but your thoughts to fully.
About her. As I said, I'm not surprised, but is this going to be one of those decisions that the ownership regrets? Because this feels like to me like an all or nothing type of, there's this is what I.
Oh, Jimbo.
Yeah, I know.
You keep saying you know. Yeah, you sound like Woody Woodpecker on steroids.
I'm having a hard time today. Butter's before season, obviously. I'm right now. I'm like offense. I don't have there's not offensive of any confidence in him, and I'm kind of at that point where I got to see it. There's like I said, if they don't make any significant offseason change to the roster, then, and if they have a bad start to the season, then then he should be fired. I mean, but that's again, we don't know when this is going to start. It's probably going to be in December, November, December, because of the pandemic. We don't know when the draft. So we don't know what the salary cap is going to be. That's going to be altered. So we altered, but I'm just got this feeling where it's not going to work. I hope I'm wrong. I hope we do make necessary changes this offseason. But I hate to say this, but I don't even want to think about it. But I'm just not totally confident that it's going to get done this offseason. And why should we be? Why should we be confident?
No, but Jimmy, nobody's gonna be confident at this point. No, there's just not.
There hasn't been enough evidence wise,
I mean, yeah, you hit a nail on the head. There is no confidence in this organization. There's no confidence from the fan base. There's no confidence as far as we perceive. There's just no confidence. And as much as the Pagulas may come out and say they have their backing, what do we know? And the fans may not like his. Well, I think you understand our frustration, owners of the Buffalo Sabres, but I don't think, I, quite frankly, it's irrelevant at this point, isn't it?
but
you could argue that Mike could argue that probably because of the pandemic. You probably could argue that he's staying on it because who are you going to hire at this point? During the pandemic, you're not going to just do that. So
yeah, and I'm going to listen to Derek Traeger's.
He's got to prove it. He's got to prove it this year. There's nothing more I can say.
There's nothing anybody else could say that's going to,
Excuse me. I'm not done.
I know.
You interrupted me. There's nothing more I'm going to say. I'm what I haven't already said. I just hope for the organizational sake that this doesn't backfire, because this does. I can't imagine the heat that, just whether it's deserved or not, the heat the Pagulas are getting now, what's going to look like in a year or two's time if this all backfires. They're already doing a Craigslist post of the team being up for sale. Not the Pagulas, but there's fans want to sell this team from the Pagulas. They want to. I feel like these fans want the Pagulas out of the Buffalo Sabres. I would probably start with the garage sale first. If this doesn't work out, I would start with Botterill being for sale for about, I don't know.
Let's use our level heads here.
Yeah, I
don't think we're using our level heads.
I'm trying to be a little bit comical. Not come across as comical. I'm sorry, but I got to be a little comical about this. I just bring that point up. Not that I would want the Pagulas to sell the team, but who am I to say? I, quite frankly, am not surprised by the staying on the bottom of the GM.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
I saw this coming a mile away, even though I said I want him gone. I'm not. Again, I would say I'm not leaning off that stance. Having said that, though, you just you at this point would pray that something will turn out in the next year or so, that this team does not suck. Whether Botterill is here in another year or two remains to be seen. I just don't see it. I mean, at this point, you're looking at empty promises that have not been filled by this organization. You have reports of turmoil within PSD. You had all different things on the past year that just made this fan base lose its passion for this team, basically. But anyway, I want to save the Buffalo Bills versus the AFC East topic for another episode. I wanted to get to that with Mike. Unfortunately, we did not get that with him. We covered everything we wanted to talk about, basically. This is early draft, so in another episode, we're going to get into the top prospects for this upcoming draft and go and review, discuss it, and see who do we think the fit will be for the Sabres, wherever they land up. We'll go more in depth of UFAs, RFAs. We're gonna give you our best to give you that coverage in the next couple of months. Since we don't know officially when the draft will be held, they were projecting June at one point, but that seems like it's going to the wayside. Probably being pushed back to October. I will try to have Mike and a couple other people come on. Like to bring on John Snyder.
Just a lot of frustration. There's been frustrating going on this organization for the last year, and I mean, I think we need to move on. There needs to be a point where we have to move on from the disappointment into a winning organization. That's clear. I think like I said, there cannot be another season of mediocrity. There cannot be. I think it's clear that it's clear.
No, there absolutely cannot be another season of mediocrity. There cannot be another season of starting out strong and then falling off the cliff like Tom Brady was supposed to. There cannot be any more excuses at this point.
Absolutely.
There is no more excuses. They've run out. In my they've totally run out of it, and the time for action, time for any real moves is now. The time should have been a couple years ago when you still have Ryan O'Reilly. You should have kept him instead of letting go off St. Louis, I guess, because he wasn't happy with playing here anymore. I mean, you lost the love for a game. I mean, that stings. That stings.
You know what?
We could have reused him right now. We really could have used him.
On that note, we'll continue this discussion in our time here because I think we need to kind of just let cooler heads prevail, and then we'll.
Oh, I'm not angry. I was just trying to get a point. I'm not mad. I'm not mad.
Wow, it's getting dark here. You know what?
Getting dark.
Yeah, it must be that thunderstorm rolling in. It might be. Oh, it is raining outside here.
All right. It's getting darker.
We get dark out here. We better get ourselves turned off here before we have any issues. All right, so check for future podcasts on the S.I.M. Facebook page.
The Chris Benoit Vice episode that I've been talking about, I have not got to. I apologize for not getting to that. I think I'm going to do that as a new audio series on Anchor.fm. If I get that done next Monday or Tuesday, I would be happy to do that. And then we can just open up and it's starting to thunder.
Just thunder.
That, we are going to
exit out.
Check out us on our YouTube page at my name, Fred RT. Honestly, the Facebook page. Already mentioned it on the YouTube banner. All the links to subscribe. This is good venting, Jimbo.
It was. All right.
I'm not speaking for the fans. Peace out. Take care. Stay safe. Have a great afternoon.
I'm sorry I wanted